I couldn't ask for a better agent, for a better company in a time like this, in a disaster where you have no idea where to start.
I learned that there's not a given in life. It takes a team. There's people that are going to watch out for us and that care.
It's been pretty stressful. Once we saw Lori and got our plan, it's a lot better now.
It was like a huge weight lifted.
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network here on the Central Bank of the Ozarks High School Game Day presented by Country Financial. Country Financial sponsors our Team of the Week. Also presented by Labor's Local 663, Shelter Insurance Agents Grant Baker in Aurora, and Sean Holman in Lockwood. Presented by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. Doak Propane, the Bank of Billings, established 1889, the oldest bank in Christian County. Labor's Local 663, Great Southern Bank, and as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Here on Country Financial Team of the Week, we go to the Class 5 state champion boys basketball team, the Statesmen from Webster Groves, and head coach Justin Mathis. And Coach, hey, thanks so much for your time today.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Coach, we're a week or so out of this, almost 2 weeks out of this state championship. You guys kind of put a bow on the season. You lose game one, and you win 11 in a row. You win your tournament. Kind of get on a roll there. You finish 24-8. Kind of wrap it up for us.
Yeah, you mentioned it at a battle with Father Tolton, who we then both were in Springfield. A really good test for us early, and then kind of got going and won our tournament. Knocked off a really good Staley team out of Kansas City. Knocked off a really good DeSmit team in the championship of coaches versus cancer. That's the big holiday tournament in St. Louis. So that one's always, in the locker room afterwards, I said, yes, it's a really nice trophy. I promise you there's a better one out there. And we got that one too, fortunately. Hit a rough patch in January, went through some injuries and some adversity. But guys did a good job of staying together. We weren't playing our best basketball, but there wasn't a whole lot of pointing fingers. And the guys were still working hard. And I had faith that we were going to get the ship righted with the way they were working. And we did. And really think we played our best basketball at the right time. Down the stretch, won our conference, the Suburban Conference here in St. Louis, and then got on a roll in the playoffs. And, we hosted districts this year. So 2 seniors next to me to be able to walk out of your home gym for the final time with the district championship trophy is pretty special. And then Cape Central in the quarterfinals, and their big fellow Cam Williams, who we didn't really have an answer for, but got by them. And then a pretty classic Final Four matchup against Cardinal Ritter that went down to the wire. And, they were the 2-time defending state champions. And, we were up 8 at half. They came out, made a run, and we were able to answer them, but just punch for punch. We were talking about baseball. It reminds me of the old Tim McCarver line in Game 6. That it was a heavyweight bout indeed, for sure, in that one. And then we faced my alma mater, Elias, in the championship. And, I think we played some of our best basketball. We locked in pretty well the first half and really defended them well. And we had a 34-11 lead at halftime. Didn't play quite as sharp the second half, but we were able to maintain that and bring home the state championship.
Coach, and coming into this season, what were you looking to have to replace, after graduation from a year ago, and who stepped up and took some of those roles?
So obviously last year was an interesting year for everybody with COVID. We only got about 20 games in. We lost a good senior class. The biggest thing for us is coming in the season, we knew we were going to start 2 sophomores. And I knew what I was going to get out of these 2, Matt and Ethan. We knew we had 2 all district and better type players than that. But when you're starting 2 sophomores, that's a little nerve wracking. And those 2 really grew up fast for us. And that was Yanni Ferentinos, a really good sharpshooter, and then Isaiah Purvey, who played all over for us, but he was our primary post player. The biggest thing is they made mistakes at times, but the stage was never too big for them. The lights were never too bright. And, with young guys like that, usually it's a consistency thing. They have one great game, one bad game, and those two were pretty consistent all year. And there was definitely some growing pains, but their maturity, and I thought we had great leadership helping them grow, and these two, but their maturity was probably the most pleasant surprise. And when I saw how consistently well those two were playing, I realized our ceiling was really, really high. Really, really high. So, we didn't have a whole lot of size, and we knew that going into the season. We started Isaiah at forward, like I said, at 6'3". We had him put his hair in a fro sometimes, and to get him to 6'4", but that was about the extent of our height. So guys really had to battle on the inside, and we were giving up a lot of size at a lot of different positions, but we knew it going in. Just talked about we have to be the tougher team. We got to be the ones to initiate first. We got to be more physical. We got to sprint to hit. We don't want the block out to happen at the block. We need it to happen at the 3-point line. That's more our territory. And, we kind of embraced that everybody thought we were too little all season and played with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder.
Was there a point during the season or maybe one game you can go back to and you feel like maybe that's where you turn the corner, where you felt like, hey, we've really got a shot to make a pretty deep run here? Was there one game that you can point at?
What do you guys think?
I kind of felt that more before the year started, when everybody was showing up to every practice in the summer and everything like that. And that's when I really realized that we could have a true shot. It wasn't really later on in the year, but it was more in the off season when I saw everybody's dedication.
Yeah. Matt Enright is who we were talking to. And go ahead, Ethan. Ethan Chartrain on the other side.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of when we went on that big winning streak, because I really saw like how good we can peak at and how good we can be as a team when we're like flowing. So
for me, I think the Staley game, just because, like you said, we were worried about size going into the year, and they've got as much of it as anybody. And that was a team that very well coached. Chris Neff, also Jay Blossom assistant at one time. So same coaching tree. We have nothing but respect for their program, knew how good they were. And, a team that I would have bet a lot of money was going to be in Springfield. And I would have won a lot of money because they were. So we knew they were one of the top 2 or 3 contenders in Class 6. And when we beat them on our home floor and, led for most of the game, it's kind of when – and it was – the biggest thing is I didn't think it was a fluke game. I thought we played really well, but I didn't think we played out of our mind. And they were, they didn't go 1 of 20 from 3. It was a game that I thought that we could replicate. So when we did that to win our tournament, I think we, like these guys said, we realized we had a chance to have a special season.
And Matt Enright alongside senior captain, along with Ethan Chartrain. Matt, kind of tell us a little bit about what your role is on the team, what position you play, and what your responsibilities are.
So I'd say my role kind of progressed more and more as I got older through Webster. And I'd say last year I did a good job of like shooting, and I did a good job of like shooting and like creating my own shots. But this year I feel like I did a better job of helping like others get into their spots and like creating for my teammates, along with keeping the same things I was doing. So I feel like I expanded that role of doing a little bit of everything and helping my teammates get to their shots and get open shots.
Well, Matt, as you go back, it's just in your mind, that Class 5 tournament takes through that quarterfinal game, then you have the battle there with Cardinal Ritter in the semifinal game. Kind of take us through that run from your perspective.
So we started off really well, and I saw how our defense, I felt like that was going to carry us over. And I think we all knew that we occasionally don't start the third quarter off well, but we knew that we were going to fight back into it. And I think I had the same feeling in that game when Isaiah got a steal. It was the same feeling I got during the Coaches vs. Cancer game. When Isaiah Purvey got a steal, he did it in both games, and he got a layup. I was like, all right, we're going to win this game. Like, it was that was always the turning point. Whenever I saw Isaiah get a steal, it was like, and get a layup, I was like, all right, we're going to win this. And it was the same feeling. That's that same feeling I had in that Final Four game. So it was definitely a battle, though.
Then you get the 19-point win over Helias Catholic. And Helias and Webster Groves, I think, were the only 2 teams there that actually had both their boys' team and their girls' team. So the crowd was probably pretty large for that game. Take us through that game, and where were you when you realized you just won the Class 5 state title?
So, well, it happened to be during our spring break that the state game fell on. So we still had a good showing from our student section, though. It was good support from our community. That game was a little different for me. The previous game was more of like a scoring game and whatever I had to do. And then that game was more of like a defensive minded effort. While it felt like I was guarding Desmond White, who was like one of their top players. While it was still a battle though at the same time. And I think my teammates did a really good job. I mean, Isaiah did a great job of playing through the post since that was where the advantage was at. And it felt great after we won. I was waiting for that opportunity to dump a cold tub of water on Coach Mathis. So that's what we look forward to.
All right. And Ethan, tell us a little bit about, what roles, responsibilities, and the position that you play.
So I'm more of like a small forward. So this year I try to focus on running and transition more because I played in this Ramey league with Matt. And so we got more chemistry, and he kept looking up for me throughout the year. I think I got some easy points sometimes, and I tried to work on my shot a lot more over the summer so I could just spot up in the corner so people can't help off as much to get teammates open layups.
And as you look back, take us, from your perspective, that run there in the quarterfinal game, and then you get down here to Springfield, and you've got Cardinal Ritter and Elias. Take us through those games.
Yeah, so when we played Cape Central, like we came out of half, like our energy never dropped at all. Once that game, I felt like our team just knew we were ready to win these games and get through state. So we won that game. We got to Cardinal Ritter, and as Coach said earlier, it was just punch for punch throughout the whole game. And our team, like our energy, just never dropped. Our energy was high every single game. And I feel like we just had more heart than all the other teams. And then we came out on Elias, and it was more of a defensive game, and we just locked them up and won state.
Where were you when you realized you'd won a state title, and who was the first person you ran into?
Most of the coaches, really. I mean, we all just kind of jumped around the coaches, jumping with them, cheering, and then from there, yeah, like Matt said, we just dumped all water on Coach Mathis.
When I took Ethan out, it had sank in with Ethan. He knew that, what we had just accomplished. When I took Matt out, he was still in game mode. He gave some of the worst, like, made me panic for a moment. I'm like, all right, we're up 18. There's a minute left. Like, I waited, I felt like longer than probably necessary. But when I took him out, he was definitely still in game mode, whereas Ethan was ready to celebrate.
Did a second one to check in on me to make sure it was good.
So you get to the locker room. Who are you hearing from? Who was the first text you got? Was it mom and dad? Was it somebody from back home? Who'd you hear from first?
It was my dad because he's been with me along the way. He's been at all my games, and I just got a text from him right away. He's just like, "You did it, buddy." It's a crazy experience.
Matt, how about you?
I'd say for me, it wasn't as much of like a text. Like it was having like my whole family there, and my grandpa was there especially, and that was somebody I was playing for since he had some bad medical news in like the week before in the Cape Central game, so he was able to make it. So being able to see their faces and everything like that just was like it was a great feeling.
Well, Coach, after you dried off, who did you hear from?
Well, that dry off took to about, I don't know, maybe Pacific, Missouri. That might have been when I finally got warm back on the bus. But, just a collection of people. Even the handshake line was kind of a special experience. Their top assistant, Zach Rockers, was one of my teammates in high school. Really good friends. I'll be at his wedding next month. So it was a weird experience playing Elias. It was, in the movies, the biggest game of your life, they're always the bad guys. Sometimes they're werewolves. It's not one of your best friends. So that was a weird experience, but, we had embraced. That was pretty cool. And then, getting to see my dad, who coached for 30 years, made a state championship, while coaching at Elias, but didn't win it. So, kind of a little bit of redemption for the family. Coach Blossom was on the floor, who I was an assistant under for 7 years. So, and he really went to bat for me, helped me get the job. So to make his confidence worth it, that was a pretty special one. So, and then you jump on the radio with KWS, who I grew up listening to and grew up playing for. So just in a lot of ways, it was full circle for me and just a really cool experience. But, as I said on the first interview afterwards, the main thing you're just feeling is just gratitude because I know how hard these guys worked and just that their hard work paid off. It's a feeling of relief. That this game, isn't fair sometimes. You look at the North Carolina game last night and, you sprain an ankle with 35 seconds left and, lose possession. That's just, I can't, it's such a tough break. And, it's not always a fair game, but we talk about being the toughest team all the time. And I thought we were the toughest team this year and we proved it.
All right. Well, Matt and Ethan, you guys are seniors. So where do you go from here?
So about a week ago, I decided that I was going to stay home, go to UMSL, continue playing basketball there, and then continue with my basketball training company, Endor Hoops. So I was going to continue with that in the St. Louis area, try to build my clientele up and be close enough to come back and give these guys a hard time. So that was the plan.
Ethan?
Yeah, I plan to play basketball again in college. I haven't figured out where yet. I'll probably figure out by the end of the month. But, yeah, I'm trying to just improve my game even more.
And Coach Mathis, what's the off season look like for you?
Well, first weightlifting sessions tomorrow, actually. So we'll get right back to work. I think we've got a really good off season plan. Kind of got the spring schedule and June schedule put together, and hopefully got some good opportunities for our guys to play really good competition, and hopefully get seen by some college coaches as well. So we're excited that. But like Matt said, he realized we had a chance because of the work we put in the off season. So we'll get right back at it and try to get back to improving. And with the tradition around here, we always get everybody's best shot. But when you're the defending state champion and you got Webster across your chest, we're going to get everybody's best game. So we're going to do our best to go get ready for that and, put in a similar big-time offseason.
Well, gentlemen, I certainly appreciate you being part of the show here at the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage, and our Country Financial high school team of the week, the Statesmen from Webster Groves. And Coach Mathis, I really appreciate you helping set this up. And Ethan and Matt, again, congratulations on the state title.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for all you do for high school sports in Missouri.
You bet. You're watching the Missouri Sports Network at MissouriSportsNetwork.com. Hey, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It could save your life. Be safe, be smart, be here tomorrow. And as always, keep it on the MissouriSportsNetwork.com.